In computer networking, port is an endpoint of communication. Physical address as well as wireless connection are terminated at the port of hardware devices. We already discussed port numbers and endpointing. That means the incoming port. So if I'm using Zoom package, there is a separate port number for Zoom package. And if I'm using local uh, port, local hosting, there's another port number. So like we already discussed the port numbers earlier. Then at the software level within the operating system, port is a logical construct at that in the identify the process or type of network services. So if you are not familiar with the port numbers, please watch the video which we will discuss the port numbers. Okay. The software port is always associate with an IP address of host and protocol type of the communication. It completes the destination of organization network addresses of message. Ports are identified for each protocol and address combined by 16 bits unsigned numbers, commonly known as port numbers. So port numbers contain 16 bits. Just underline 16 bits port numbers. We have done, therefore I'm not going to discuss the port numbers deeply. Port provide multiplexing services for the multiple service uh, or multiple communication session at one network address. Specific port numbers are commonly reserved to identify specific services. The most commonly used protocols that use ports are Transmission Control Protocol TCP and User Datagram Protocol UDP. Okay, so we discussed the differences between TCP and UDP. Okay, now we are going to move to the different section, that is TCP IP and protocol architecture. Investigates the role of difference model to describe the network architecture, TCP IP protocol architecture. Okay. TCP IP protocol architecture. Okay. So this architecture, there are 4 layers. First one is a network access layer. Second one, internet layer. Host transport layer and application layer. So network I'll underline the keyword network access layer, internet layer. We use the keyword transport. Host to host is not going to use it. This year there was a question, but in marking scheme, host to host was not there. Therefore, highlight only host layer. But this is the print screen of the teacher guide. It is there, but nobody argued that. Okay. Application layer. Now look at network layer consists of routing for the accessing physical address. Internet layer defines the datagram and handles the routing of data. Transport layer provides the end-to-end delivery services. Then application layer consists of application and process that uses the network. So we'll see what are these layers and how it's working through the while we are sending the message. So actually, what is this layer? Why we need layer? From the sender, the message is going to the receiver's computer. Okay. So while sending the data from senders to receivers PC, TCP IP layer use 4 layers. TCP IP architecture uses 4 different layers. OSI reference model use 7 layers. Okay. Now we are going to compare these 2 types of architectures and discuss how the sender sending and receiver accessing that data. Network layer. And there's a small change in your order. First one network layer, second one internet layer, third one host to host transport layer. Therefore, I just put the numbers. First one network access layer. So lowest layer TCP IP hierarchy provides mean deliver data to the other device. Defines how to use the network transmit IP datagram. IP datagram means smallest unit of the transmission. It's something like one set of ones and zeros. Set of ones and zeros. Okay, so encapsulate IP datagrams into frames. So these set of ones and zeros. Just assume 8 bits are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So encapsulate means cover this one. And if this is datagram, IP datagram, it encapsulate and make the frame. Okay. So we call this part as frame after encapsulate. Map IP address, the physical address. So what is the function of that? Map the IP address into physical address in the Ethernet. Ethernet means LAN network. Network layer manages the connection across the network and isolate the upper layer protocols. Upper layer means application layer and transport layer. It isolated from the upper layers. Handle addressing and delivery of data. So internet layer handle the addressing and delivery of data. Internet protocol IP address also is function. So IP address contain the network layer. So if then third one is transport layer. I skip the application layer, it should come at the end. Transport layers are TCP and UDP user datagram. Fourth layer, application layer, run with this layer. Applications are running in that layer. And file transfer protocol, TCP, remote login, telnet, SMTP are there. Okay. Okay, now we are going to compare TCP IP reference model with the OSI reference model. Before that, OSI reference model contain physical layer. I'm starting from the down to top. Okay, OSI reference, I mean from here to here. Okay, OSI reference model contain physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation layer, and application layer. So the physical layer, we can keep in mind this one. Physical layer, we can say, please. Data link layer, do. Network layer, not. Transport layer, throw. Session layer, sausage. Presentation layer, pizza. Application layer, away. If you want, you can copy down that. Then these 7 layers are there in the OSI reference model. User is communicating with the application layer when the data is sending, message is sending and receiving, user is using the application layer. Okay, so if this side is sending, then the other side receiver will receive. So all these 7 layer steps are followed by the followed through the network and sending the data and receiving the data to the user. Then TCP IP contain 2 layers of the OSI reference model into the network layer. So network layer contains data link layer and physical layer from the OSI. When we compare with the OSI reference model, data link layer and physical layer functionalities are belongs to the network layer of the TCP IP. OSI එකේ data link layer එකේ තියෙන features, ඒ කියන්නේ physical layer එකයි data link layer එකයි, ඒ කියන්නේ frames bits කියන එක එකතුව අපිට ගන්න පුළුවන් network layer. Then Network layer mean TCP IP layer, that is internet layer. OSI එකේදී network layer කියන එක අපි internet layer කියලා කියනවා TCP IP එකේදී. Transport layer කියන එක අපි transport layer කියන keyword එකමයි ගන්නෙ. මේ පාර paper marking වලදී host to host කියන keyword එක පාවිච්චි උනේ නැහැ. Feature guide එකේ තිබ්බට host to host කියන එක use උනේ නැහැ. Transport layer කියන වචනේ විතරයි use උනේ. Then application layer තුනක් අයිති. Session layer එකයි, presentation layer එකයි, application layer එකයි. එතකොට then network access layer containing data IP datagram ones and zeros and frames. Then datagrams are encapsulated and make the frames. Then internet layer containing the IP address. Transport layer contain the TCP, UDP. Application layer contain the TCP, FTP, Telnet, SMTP. Then other side, this one, bits, frames, packets, segments, data. Can you see that? First, through the cables, okay, so I mean the bits. Through the cables, transmit bits. Okay, so these bits are encapsulates and make the frames. Then packets. Then segments. Finally, data. So in application layer, we use the data. Application layer data, then segment in the transport layer, packets in the network layer, frames in the data link layer, bits in the physical layer. Is this clear? Then this is 2000. This is 2022 LLICT paper. Try to answer this without looking the answers. 2020, 22, that means this year. Without looking the answers, fill this one. Okay, in OSI reference model, there are three layers. That is application layer, network layer, application layer, presentation and session layer is belongs to the S, that is application. That means P, application layer, then presentation layer, session layer. These three. Application layer, presentation layer, session layer. These three layers together we call what? Application layer. So same keyword will be there. So P should be application layer, S should be application layer. Okay. Application layer plus presentation layer plus session layer equal to in TCP IP application layer. Then transport layer is the same for both, but host to host was not there in this time. Therefore, you also try to use only the transport keyword. Okay, so transport layer will be the transport layer T. Then Q mean network layer, U mean internet layer. We call Q as network layer. Q network layer, U internet layer. From the down to top, we call, please do not throw sausage beside it. R must be the data link layer. Okay, this is the way we are going to find the answer. So, data link layer plus physical layer altogether we call network layer. Is this clear? Then we are moving to this diagram. I think I explained this earlier also. Physical layer is data link layer 2, network layer not, throw transport layer, social session layer, pizza presentation layer, away application layer. Physical layer mean cables, hubs. It uses the ones and zero bits. Then connection, data flow through the cables, data encoding physical medium, then physical medium transmit the data. Then next one, data link layer. Data link layer contains the MAC address, NIC card, switches, end-to-end, establish and terminate the logical link between nodes, data link layer. Then normally we call switches, bridges are there in the data link layer. Level 2 switches are there. Network layer, third layer, controls the operations of the subnet. Then use the packets, IP addresses, routing, subnet traffic, frame fragmentations, that means making the frame fragmentation, and routers are belong to the packets. That means routers are belongs to the network layer. So routers handle the packets. Therefore, routers belongs to the network layer. Transport layer is the TCP host-to-host control layer. We call flow control layer. Network segments, message acknowledgements are provided. Then session layer allowed session to establish between process running on different section. Then session establishment, send the synchronization and send the ports, logical ports, identify the ports, and establish the session with the session layer. Logical ports and net BIOS are there. Then application presentation layer contain the format of data. That means encryption, decryption is there. Then data conversion, compression is there. ASCII, JPEG are available in the presentation layer. Application layer, we have the user at the end. So user application, SMTP, email applications. Then a program that opens was sent to create what was to be sent, what to be sent. Then resource sharing, remote file accessing, remote print accessing, directory accessing is available in the application layer. So you must keep in mind these 4 layers in order and the devices which are needed. So router belongs to layer 3, network layer. So layer 2 switches are layer 2. But nowadays layer 3 switches also available. So if you are getting switch with the layer 3, you have to name this is layer 3 switch. Layer 3 means L3. Then next we are moving to this part. So this is the short note which I gave, level 1, layer 1 send on the physical wire subnets as send bits through the physical wire subnet. We use the hubs, switches, physical layer is a layer 1 sent through the physical wires. Ones and zeros are sent through the physical wires. We call bits are sending. Then hubs, network cables are there in the physical layer, down layer. Then data link layer, level 2, frames are used. MAC addresses, data packets are there. Then we use the switches, NIC, in this layer. Layer 3 data packets are using read the IP address from the packet. Route also available in the layer 3. So if you want, you can take the switches into layer 3 as well, but you have to mention that this layer 3 is similar to routing features. Then layer 4 segments for user segment responsible for the transport protocol and error handling. TCP UDP is available there. Session layer established in connections between two hosts. NetBIOS network basic input output, that means system is available. Boot up setup also available in the network server. PP is there. Then those are protocols. Okay. Presentation layer, encryption, decryption is happening. Chief JPEG available. Application layer, we use the end user applications that the layer contain the data. Then SMTP mean email handling protocols. Okay, so those keywords you have to keep in mind. Okay, now we are going to discuss what is encryption. Okay, so investigates the security aspects of communication and protections of the devices connected to the internet. Secure methods we are going to use while we are transmitting the data from one location. Normally we use this for the emailing. So when you email message, so there is an encryption mechanism and decryption. Think I want to send secret message. Okay, only for the one person. So there are all the others are hackers. Hackers are waiting to get the message, secret message. Okay, so think I'm sending the Shana the message. Others are going to catch up the message. All the others we can say hackers. How can I send the message to Shana without showing that message? One method, I can make my message into symbols. Okay, that symbols can send it to her. Hackers, even though hackers take that, that symbols cannot be read. So the plain text which I use, is going to convert into ciphertext. Ciphertext means unreadable format with the help of encryption.